Welcome in, everyone, to the Challenge Aftershow. Tonight, Jenna, Pamela, and I are talking about All Stars 3, Episode 9, Cheater. That's what it's called.
Yeah.
That's what it's called. Oh, and I want to take a quick moment to say, hey, we have a Patreon, and this week we broke down the Challenge 38 cast, the duos, the ride or die duos, and that's on our Patreon. Click the link in the comment section below, in the profile, in the subject area below. What's it even called? It's there. Just click it, and then you can watch us talk about all of the season 38 cast members that have been released.
For $1 a month. So you can get hours of content, because we do one every week. We try and do one for $1 a month. So 25 cents an episode you're paying to hear us.
Now, Pamela, that doesn't mean they can't donate more than $1, right?
With more, yes.
Yeah. Anyways, let's start breaking down this episode. Did you ladies enjoy the episode tonight?
Yeah,
I did. I had a lot of surprises. So shocked at the beginning that we're about to get into, and Nehemiah and Naya have just been impressing me the whole final so far. And I have a lot of mixed feelings on this point system. I'm not sure how I feel about this. Just the whole formula of the final.
Jenna, has Wes not been impressing you as well? I think that he is dominating this thing.
Wes is incredibly impressive, but also maybe not all that unsurprising, right? So I'm very surprised.
Okay, were you ladies, you finally got to see him in those whitey tighty / boxer briefs that I had mentioned all season. I said, you're gonna see that. And we finally did. So I was like, okay, good. He did make it to the finals.
This is how you knew, right? Because you predicted
every week. I just waited
because of these boxers. And it's the episode of the finals that we finally get to see him in these boxers as he's chowing down on a baguette, getting his carbs in.
He has a strategy that no one else has. Everyone else is swimming in the pool naked. And he's like, no, man, I have a very specific thing I'm trying to do to make sure I am fully prepped for this final.
Yeah.
And
it's kind of wild that more people wouldn't take those kind of steps. But I also at the same time understand that you're there to have a good time and you're there to have fun. And
100%.
That concept, if you take things too seriously and too regimented, then you almost have too much pressure on the day of. Like if you have a little bit more of a laid back personality and you just take life as a fun experience, then you might even excel better in a final than if you take everything too seriously. But I'm surprised that, I mean, I wonder how many days they had in between drinking and going straight into
that's what the editing might have made, and Wes might have made it appear that these people were all partying till the wee hours of the morning when they had to wake up at 6 and run a final. And like, that may not have been exactly the way it was.
Yeah.
You know.
And I think they limit their alcohol now. So no one's ever getting shit-faced on this show anymore. So I feel like they could have just had like 1 to 2 glasses of wine. Especially
the way that I mean, they very well maybe get a shit face, but we're certainly not seeing it. So that's at least what we're definitely not seeing it. So
you know how we always find things that we love about All Stars and don't like about the challenge? I found another one. And I just feel like Wes's commentary, every time he has his talking head moment in a confessional, it's always like either funny or I feel like I'm like learning something, or it feels real. It doesn't feel forced. It doesn't feel like he's reading from a script. And I'm like, yeah, who's doing that on the challenge on 38? And on 38, when we watch it coming up, is someone gonna like
Tori was like the only Tori and Amanda actually?
Maybe Tori will. Amanda always did, but yeah, I mean, just the way Wes is describing things. And Devin sometimes, but his is getting a little even much. But just the way Wes describes everything too, I'm like, oh, this is helping me like understand the episode. It just felt just good, especially this episode.
Absolutely. That's been one of our biggest critiques now for like the past 5 seasons, just feeling like we're watching these talking heads that are so reality TV, that are so Instagram, that they're really losing like authentic personalities. And it sucks that you can start to feel that they're saying what they think the producers want them to say in a moment. Like, I can't believe this. This is the biggest twist ever. And it's just like, give me something real. Act like a real human being.
Yeah.
Authentic's the right word, Jenna. You nailed it. That's what Wes is bringing every time he talks. I'm like, this is like, he's just talking. He's not worried about what a producer is. The producer's gonna be like, oh, Wes, you can't say that. He's just saying how he feels and what he wants to say. It's great.
And it's so funny because he's so just classic Wes. He's never changed. And we
Right.
just grew to love it. Like when he first stepped on the scene, I feel like he came off really arrogant and he
Oh, yeah.
probably would even say that himself. But he still has that arrogance, but now it just kind of has a more subtle and sarcastic undertone where he said something like, I'm going to be the best partner ever. I want these girls
Yeah.
to all want to marry me if they don't already.
It's so good, right? That was hilarious. And how about when he picked the color orange because he's a ginger and he based it off that just for fun. I mean, that's just original fun stuff. He's being silly. He's bringing the entertainment value up a notch, and I love it.
Also him saying that he's so tired of sandbagging all the challenges.
Yes.
And now it's the right time. It's just like so Wes. Like, okay, Wes, we know.
We'll get into the challenge of the day. He dominated everybody. At least that's the way they made it look. But it was like not even a challenge for him. He was like, yep, no problem. I know this already. We're done.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, I have so many questions about that too, but we'll get into it. I think we should probably pick up at the elimination.
Let's go to the top.
So we're going to light our fire here in the elimination called Light My Fire. And the first one's Derek versus Nehemiah. I thought Derek was going to win, and I was really wrong because Nehemiah went into some type of beast mode that I don't really feel like I've seen with Nehemiah before. And it really wasn't much that Derek could do. I feel like Nehemiah dominated him.
Nehemiah, to speak back to what Jenna said in the beginning, Nehemiah, I'm like 180ing on, he's won me over in this one because I always just thought he's mediocre, he's fine, and I think Derek's such a survivor and this is his kind of elimination. So I was like, all right, credit where credit's due. Nehemiah kicked his ass and was really good. I don't know if Nehemiah's gotten better or if Derek is slowing down or something, but that was like surprisingly, he demolished him. And good job, Nehemiah. And then, I like the way he behaved about it too. He was pretty cool. He wasn't like, being super extra. And then with Naya, that's where I disagree though. I'm like, does she really deserve to be where she is right now? Like that's where the points are kind of confusing me, but we'll discuss that. I feel
we'll definitely have to break down this point system for sure.
Yeah.
I was absolutely shocked by Nehemiah winning. And I think it's just because we're so used to Derek being such a dog. And I think Nehemiah performed wonderfully. He absolutely beasted it. And it makes me think, Derek is not the dog that he used to be. And that kind of has been a little bit of his strategy in the past in these dog fights, in these pole wrestles. Like think about him and Joss. He did lose to Joss, even though he put up an amazing fight. But I feel like his strategy is more to hang on and endure rather than be the aggressor. And I think in this case, Nehemiah just really got the best of him. And
now, because Derek came in as a mercenary against Joss, correct?
Yeah.
I believe Derek won because Joss he thought it was over and he threw the thing away. I believe Derek won, I want to say.
You could be right.
I might be right. I'm not sure though.
I can't remember how the things that happened on the old season.
It was a weird DQ from Joss, I believe.
I remember the competition because it was so intense and it went on so long. I also don't even remember who I believed Jenna that Joss won. And now I'm like, oh no, Derek won. But that just goes to show what a dog fight it was.
It was.
Yeah. And it just makes me think, so Derek called out Nehemiah because he thought Nehemiah was the weakest. And if Derek could have beat Nehemiah, he couldn't have beaten anybody else. Like think about him versus a Wes, who Wes is bigger and taller. Even Mark, I mean, maybe Mark being as old as he is, maybe he could have fatigued earlier. Maybe that would have been a better scenario, although Mark was safe and is his best friend anyway, so we couldn't have picked him. He was going to pick Brad? No. I mean, he really could not have picked anybody else. And unfortunately, since Derek had already seen so many eliminations this season, he had the most stars, so he was going in regardless. So basically, this was just sadly his to lose.
I know. I felt bad for him. I did feel bad for him, but I was won over by Nehemiah. I'm happy.
Totally. So I watched with my sister and she said something interesting where she was kind of like, oh, what? Like now Nehemiah gets all these stars just for winning one elimination when he hasn't done anything this season. And I was kind of like, oh, that's interesting. But at the same time, that's not his fault. That's the way the game shakes out. And Derek picked him and Derek called him easy and weak. So it's not on Nehemiah.
I mean, you could do well in like a Brad or someone that is like, wow, just continuing to dominate daily. Is like, no, I kind of agree with your sister that Nehemiah didn't really, I mean, he deserved this win and with it comes the stars and whatever. But he did just kind of skate through this season. He didn't make any social
Which he
moves.
said he purposely did, which I don't believe him. Yes.
He said he was flying under the radar, which I don't know, but whatever it was, he did skate along. I think this was his first elimination. He didn't perform overly impressively in any 1-day challenges or anything. So I kind of agree. I mean, I'm not mad about it because that is
Right.
the way it shakes out. But if like he had Brad or something went home, I would have been really upset. Someone that was like really doing well and really like if well, now I'm jumping ahead. I'll save it, but I was happy that the people all went to the finale.
To TJ's finale. And
Yeah.
he did say finale instead of final. I
Yeah,
think
that was
That
interesting.
was weird. That was weird. I was like, ooh, the finale, the grand show.
Yeah.
But yeah, in my sister's argument, I guess you could say that it sucks for someone like Derek who did see 2 or 3 eliminations. He worked for those stars. He chipped away to get them, and Nehemiah gets them all at once after not really having to do anything.
So I have a conspiracy for your sister about the stars, but we'll get to that right.
I hope she watches this. Shout out Danielle. She'll be so happy.
Danielle, there's an interesting conspiracy. I think that the producers did something, but I'm going to bring it up in a little bit once we get to that part. The other big elimination. Oh yeah, it doesn't happen. Thanks a lot, Veronica, for getting hurt. So, I mean, they went over the fact that 4 girls went home either due to injury or to Jemmy went home for her father. So like girls were dropping left and right for multiple reasons. And that honestly hurt the show in a way because we didn't get to see as many eliminations. However, I do want to say one more thing about the Nehemiah elimination. Wes went on his Twitter or his Instagram and he said, Real World Austin 2-0 in pole wrestle, Derek 0-2. So he put one of that out there. So that was funny.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, Wes is a good follow on Instagram. He does the same type of stuff he does on the show. It's always funny. It's always entertaining. He's very sarcastic, obviously. So yeah. Anyways, and then as far as we never got to see Kellyanne versus Kayla. However, when I saw Kayla standing next to Kellyanne, I was like, holy shit, Kayla's a lot bigger than her. You girls mentioned it last week, but I didn't think much about it. She towered over her. I was like, oh shit, I'm kind of glad Kellyanne didn't have to do that because I'm rooting for Kellyanne over everybody at this point.
I'm glad.
Even though she's in like last place, spoiler alert.
Yeah, that was going to be, if we were going to start with overall thoughts, I was going to say, like, I am so disappointed that my 2 ringleaders going into this final, Brad and Kellyanne, by the second checkpoint, were head and shoulders below the rest of the competition. And I was like, what the fuck, guys? I felt like Kellyanne, and this is what made me nervous if there were to be an elimination with Kellyanne and Kayla. I feel like she takes herself out of it mentally very quickly. Like as soon as she starts to realize that maybe the formula is not working for her or things aren't in her favor, she's like, oh, well, here we are. Like she just feels like this is unfair. So I'm just gonna not care. So she
seems nice. And like, she literally is like, oh, well, like she was even sweet to Kayla when
I think it's a cover because she doesn't want to come off like she stinks. She's like, no big deal if I lose this one, whatever. But it's like a cover because she's getting her butt kicked.
Mm-hmm.
She hasn't done anything in this final besides run. She's run to each checkpoint in last place and then lost the matchups. That's no way to run a final.
Yeah. My point is I kind of preface that I have mixed feelings on this point system is because when they get to the final and TJ announces, Janae, Nehemiah, you have the most stars. You automatically have 5 points to go into this. I think it took the wind out of a lot of people's sails. And I think a lot of them were like, oh, well, this sucks, So by the first or second checkpoint, if they don't have any wind under their belt, they're just like, well, am I even going to catch up? Am I out of this game?
Wes did mention how
separated.
Wes did say, he's like, it's going to be really hard to come back from a 5-point deficit. I got to do my conspiracy about the stars right now then. Like, can I just say it real quick?
Yeah.
I think that there were multiple ways the producers could decide to give people extra points with these stars. Like they said, oh, like TJ made it very clear. He's like, well, John A and Nehemiah, you both have 5. And then he said someone else had 4. He goes, well, you know what? Only first place stars are going to get points this time. It's like, well, because if you gave everybody the points, which is what I think it may originally have been, who knows, right? Then there would only been a 1-point lead for John A and Nehemiah. Like, well, that's not a big enough benefit for us hyping the shit out of these stars the entire season. We can't just give them a 1-point lead. So they had to just make it the first place people only get the stars, when who knows if that's how it really was. So to Danielle's point, your sister, Jenna, if it went that way, it would only been a 1-point lead and it's not as big of a deal. And Nehemiah is not getting that much of a benefit for skating through all season. That's my point. So
damn, Dan, that was really good. I think you're totally right.
They could use it because
everybody has stars.
They can do whatever the hell they want with those stars. They don't have to use them. Oh, we just lost. We just lost Pam.
Well, Pam still has to work. She told us she only had 20 minutes.
She did. I didn't realize she'd go so hard out on that, but she
that was a hard out. She was just like, goodbye, Deb. Like she just done.
However, ladies and gentlemen, if we're still talking at 7, she said she will rejoin us. So we will see about that. But yes, Pamela had to get back to work, but that's so funny that she just knocked out like that. Anyways, you were talking, Jenna. I'm sorry.
I think you were. I think we were both talking. I think we were talking over each other. Yep. I just completely, wow. You're so right. I felt that I had like a bad taste in my mouth about these points and I couldn't figure out exactly why, but that's why. It's because Nehemiah and John A get 5 and no one else gets anything. They all went into an elimination because they wanted to get stars from somebody.
Yep. Wes went against, yes, he won. He had an extra star or 2. Someone else had 4. Like mentioned.
Mark went in, he got them.
They were like, no, only first place. But like, that's a decision they made, I feel like, on the day. They were like, we'll just make the decision anytime this season we want. We can kind of like, someone in the comment section last week or 2 weeks ago wrote, they're setting up John A to be their new darling, right? And of course, John A had 5 stars. Like, okay, well, if we give her a 5-point lead now she's got even more chance to be our darling and win 2 seasons in a row. Like for something just like Josh from the regular season, they're always like, you feel like they're always pushing for Josh in storylines. Remember when they made him like the main character one season? We were all like, no one wants him to be the main character.
We did like a little biopic on him. Like for the first time ever, we got somebody's childhood photograph.
Behind the challenge, all about Josh. We had baby pictures of it.
Yeah, we had baby pictures and like a whole little 2-minute biopic on Josh in the middle of an episode.
Yeah, that was Josh. Yeah, not Josh. But yes, Josh had his, whatever. They're pushing for stuff. Anyways, so that was my thought on the stars, but we can move on from that. But I just thought it was interesting.
You're so right. And I just feel like and this was very beneficial in our conversation with Wes. And now I keep thinking about what Wes is saying, and it feels so clear and obvious to me now, him having said it, is that the final is sometimes almost the least fair or the least obvious. I don't know,
he mentioned it when we interviewed him, right?
Way for you to actually see who like the real winner could be, because they have all of these variables, like being partnered up with somebody for a certain leg, and you could have a really shitty partner, but you're excelling on your own, or you have these point systems where all of a sudden they're giving people 5 points. Sometimes it's the worst way to really show like who the most well-rounded.
Because let's be real, I mean, I'm sorry, but I don't think anyone's beating Wes just overall with everything. Mark can't run. Mark even said, my legs are killing me. I can't run. Brad's doing better with puzzles, but he can get mixed up with puzzles. Wes can run for hours and he can do puzzles like nobody's business, and he can compete strength and endurance wise. I just don't think anyone's beating Wes, but by teaming him up with a girl that could run slower and making him go one-on-one matchups against one guy instead of the other 2 guys, all 4 of them having to go against each other, it evens the field, like he said. And that might be what he was trying to tell us in that interview months ago. Like maybe he's trying to let us know why he doesn't win. But right now he's in the lead going into the 3rd checkpoint. So who the hell knows?
Yeah. And again, it's tough because I love Brad and I want him to win because I think he's so good at the game. But then you see a point of weakness where his legs cramp up. And who was he with at that point? Kellyanne, who I also wanted Kellyanne to thrive in this final. And so at that point, she had done really poorly. But I thought, finally, Kellyanne is with Brad now. Now they're going to kick some ass. They both have endurance. They have stamina. And now she's with a partner who's cramping up. So now
she was like punching him
in
the legs, huh?
Not that she was performing brilliantly on her own at these checkpoints, but now it's a point where she's already done poorly, and now she's with someone who's cramping up. And then Mark and Jonna's medal breaks. And it's just, it almost at some points feels like, yeah, maybe a final isn't a true testament of the most deserving to win. I don't know.
Yeah, I think Mark's just too big for a bike. Those bikes cannot hold out on. He lost his pedal. He lost his chain. He's just a huge dude. And it's breaking under his weight. It's obviously what's happening. He rides it too hard.
Everything Tandem was cracking me up.
Yeah.
On tandem bikes, and then they have to go on tandem kayaks. Everything was just hysterical.
All right, let's break down the challenge, which is called Walk of Fame this week. They have to do 24 questions. It's a matching game, basically. Match up the question with the person. Did you remember that there was a wall with people on? I did when they showed Jonna like talking about her walking. Like she described it at one episode where she said, oh, this is when I was about to win, or this is when I was almost won the final, or something like that in the season 1. But I didn't know, like, I don't think TJ ever said, hey, did you guys see those sweet pictures I put up of all of you in the lobby of the house? I mean, I don't remember.
But is that the craziest thing that you and I don't remember? No, because we don't remember a lot of things, and our commenters let us know all the damn time.
I was going to say,
are they even watching the episode? Yeah. They don't know shit that's going on.
I honestly think, Jenna, that you and I and Pam, we remember a lot of stuff. It's just like when you miss one or two things, that's the stuff you get called out for. We're not getting called. We're going to get called out because when Josh went against Derek, right. It wasn't a pole wrestle technically. It was called the 8. Dang. It was 2 rings of 8. It was like an 8. It looked like a number 8. So they'll probably call us out for that because we didn't mention it right away. Who the hell knows?
Okay, put me in check. It's okay.
It is what it is.
But this wall, I'm thinking they're all fucked here, and they all looked screwed. All of them are like, there were so many questions on that board.
24.
Unless you're memorizing it every single day, all of the fine details were so hard. Who's drinking in one picture of 24 of them? Who's eating a taquito? You couldn't even tell that was a taquito.
You couldn't. It just, his mouth was looking all weird. Like, I don't even know. It was Cyrus, right?
Yes.
But it, like, all he had was like some like drool or something coming out of his side. Like, how's that a taquito? What are you doing here? So whatever.
I mean, it looked like when they said that it was a taquito, then you could see it if you want to see it. But if I didn't know, I would think it was maybe a cheese doodle or a Dorito or something.
But at least if it was the only one that was saying who's eating a taquito, if there's no other eating ones, then I guess you could kind of process of elimination. But that's asking a lot when you have 23 other questions you're trying to like narrow down at this point. But
yeah, I thought it was really hard. I'm thinking you need to be reminded of that all the time. Like if TJ said that early on, the good competitors are pocketing that information and not sharing it with others to memorize it. But
100%. And maybe that's why Wes never mentioned it. Well, what's the point? He's not going to say, oh, in a confessional, like, oh, hey, TJ told us to look at these pictures today. Maybe that'll come in handy later. I mean, he just did it, and then it worked in his benefit. Didn't bite him in the ass.
I have a feeling that some hints had to be given, because I'm thinking like Kellyanne, I'm shocked that she finished it, and
we don't know how long Brad, it took though either.
Mark, I'm shocked that they even finished. Oh, Brad didn't even have to finish it actually, right?
Technically, no. Brad and Nia came in last, so who knows if they even both bothered finishing it. There's no reason to. They thought they were both just going to go home. Now, I'm also wondering, I guess it really doesn't matter, but I was thinking, does it depend on who gets last place? If TJ sends someone home, or just TJ just lets him stay like he did? But I mean, everyone else is just as important. I'm thinking like, no matter, like if Jonna got last place, they're not sending her home. And Brad and Nia would be good candidates to send home. I mean, Nia's not the most popular person.
I was going to be so pissed. I was sitting on the edge of my seat. Like, are they going to send Brad home? Because over this stupid ass Wall of Fame memory game, that is so hard and difficult. And you have to like be memorizing that every day.
Well, let's be honest. It's usually
obviously had that good sense because they're best friends. So they're sharing it with each other, and they're making sure that they're both memorized on this. I think that's why they did so well. But I'm shocked that anybody else finished, because
how many? Yeah, but they let 8 people into the final last season, as I recall, because it was 8 people because Tech and Ayana, they got 4th place,
right? They quit.
They got 4th, and then obviously Jonna and MJ won. Darrell was there, and then also there was another team there too, wasn't there?
There was.
Yeah, but so that is 4 teams that make it. So that's 8 people. So we could have kind of done process of elimination here, knowing
Brad
what
and Julie. Wait, no, her name wasn't Judy.
Jody. No, they
Jody.
went home the week before. Because remember, Brad ripped the lock off the thing when he's not supposed to.
Oh God, you're right.
Oh no, unless he still got through it somehow. Oh my God.
Let's not make us look bad. Let's not make us look worse than we do. Forget about last season. Let's talk about this episode.
All right. Well, did you think Kayla really cheated? There you go. There's a big question. Answer that one.
Simply yes.
Oh, good.
I actually do. And you know what? There is a small chance she didn't. And if she didn't, good for you. But girl, your eyes were all over Naya's shit. And I understand you're saying, if I cheated, how could I finish before you? Because you only need the numbers that she's finished before you.
She looked at the one she didn't have, and then she just said, okay, ooh, that's the person I don't have in a place yet. And then boom, you slap it on the magnet there and you're done.
She totally for sure cheated. And it's not as though it's something people haven't done before. People are always looking at each other's puzzles. People are always getting feedback from people in the stands at elimination, telling them, put that triangle there, put that color there. So there's always an undertone of cheating. However, I think Naya also had the right to call Kayla out. I wish 100%. That at the elimination, you're sensing her. Tell her, look somewhere else. I see you. This is this is now for a final. Like this is,
and you don't know if you're getting eliminated after this challenge either.
Exactly.
You might be going home. That's why it's so big. And if she was going home, Naya would have went home and Kayla would have cheated off that. Now they purposely had the boards with like the flaps on them, so you couldn't
and Kayla's
cheat.
Backpedaling and she's walking.
Right.
And
so
she's looking, and then she's looking away. And then she's looking and she's looking away.
My thought there was like, clearly producers didn't want people looking at each other's boards. If I'm Naya, I'm yelling to TJ, she's cheating. She should be DQ'd. Like, I want that to be something they do. And I wonder if this is another conspiracy, why they let all 4 go to the final, because they realize if they send Naya home for Kayla cheating when Kayla could have got last place, there's a big controversy. Like, Naya should technically be in the final. And then they're like, you know what? We don't want to lose Brad either. Boom. Let's put them all in the final and then you're done, right?
That's interesting.
And then they have a backup plan. Like, okay, we'll just give them each 30-second like time limits to start the final. Boom, that's our out. And I really wish we knew more about that. They'll never release that information, but I have a feeling that like there is some truth to that. That's what they did.
That's interesting, but I'm just thinking in terms of equipment, they did have enough rafts for 8 people, and I don't know if they can make those in 2 nights notice. I think that's
I mean, they could have had backups though, and they have test ones. They have to have extras. They have to have people test these games out. And what if one breaks when they're testing it out? They have to have backups. But I mean, whatever.
Yeah, can you hear my dinging? I'm sorry. I cannot believe how many emails I'm getting.
I only heard the first time. I didn't even hear.
I can't even believe it. Yes, but I'm glad that Brad got to make it through, and Naya should have absolutely have called Kayla out in the challenge in the sand. But when they get back to the house, I think it's hysterical that Kayla comes over and she's saying, I value our friendship. I don't want you to be mad at me. And Naya's like, girl, met you 4 weeks ago. We are not friends.
So good. Friends. This is the type
and if we were, you wouldn't be cheating off me. Right.
You're not going to get that type of funny line in the challenge, only in All-Star, like, because these were the original challengers and they're just so good. Like Naya has always been one with words, where she made good or bad with some of the things she says, but she can speak her mind. And that is a great freaking line. Girl, I met you 4 weeks ago. Like, that's right off the top of her head. The only thing I noticed, I thought it was a beautiful setting where they were having their little fight. Do you see like the lightning go off in the background?
I saw that.
That's where my eyes were there. I didn't even care. I'm like, their fight is whatever. Like, she didn't get punished for it. Let's move on. It's so dumb. But yeah, I love that comeback by Naya.
Well done by the special effects department to add that lightning.
You don't think that was real lightning?
Well, of course it was real.
That's a conspiracy though that you just put out there.
Of course it was real. Yeah, it's so weird that sometimes I am not a violent person. However, sometimes I do like when people almost like get theirs, they get kind of consequences. So I think Naya's growth and evolution is phenomenal, and she's so at peace and she's so amazing now. And she's found herself and her maturity. But I almost was like, damn, I wish old Naya could come out a little bit and just kind of come off, a little bit, shake Kayla up a little bit.
With that line, at at least she's told her where she stood with that line.
Yeah.
Like we're not friends, basically, is what that was.
Yeah. Because Kayla is lucky because Nia was not one to mess with before. So she's lucky she's getting the
100%. Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. What else? Oh, I thought Wes and Kellyanne, it finally gets brought up that they were exes. I think we brought it up just naturally. Like they had a real relationship and it hasn't been mentioned yet this season. They finally mention it. Wes says, he's proud of her, but even though she's super annoying, thought it was fun. He always had a good line there. They broke up 10 years ago.
Yeah, so they should be that page is well turned.
Well turned. What else?
I don't remember their relationship being documented. I think it was on the ruins, and I think I may have missed that season. I'm sorry, guys. That was so long ago that I don't remember the ruins, but I believe that's when they dated.
I remember them dating for sure. He dated her after John A. This was like his next big relationship after John A. because he had some flings or whatever. But
John A? You mean Johanna?
Johanna. Come on. I'm working here. I meant Johanna. Don't do that to me.
We're canceled now.
We're canceled now. The last thing Wes says the last time he appeared in the finals was War of the Worlds. And that's the one that we always talk about being the craziest, toughest final. And I'm like, dude, this dude is prepped. It's like going to the NBA finals 5 times. This dude knows what's going to happen. He knows what to be prepared for. I'm like, I feel like Wes, even before going into the finals, like I think Wes is going to win this whole damn thing. All they had to do was make it there, right? That's my thought. Just get there.
Yeah.
How you get there. Just get to the damn finals and do it. He's giving me CT vibes when CT makes it to a final where I'm like, no one's going to beat CT. Now all I have to do is see CT versus Wes versus Jordan versus Bananas in a final. Oh man, that's what I want to see.
And I think that's what All Stars is supposed to be. But again, as we know, you do have to get to the finals. Exactly.
That's the problem. Yeah.
And there's a lot of steps you have to take to get there. And sometimes you get sent home, but wouldn't it be phenomenal to actually see the best of the best in the final? But strategically, sometimes you don't see the absolute best because they want to keep the weaker people along for the ride. So that way they have a better shot in the final.
Do a 2-hour special one year where you put as many heavy hitters and just make them run a final and just see what happens. You all made it. The winner gets $100K. Make it less because it's obviously you're just there for the 2 weeks or whatever you're doing to film that season or episode or whatever the special event, and just make them run a damn final and make it like a 3-day final. Make it like 2 nights. Night 1, night 2. Extend it. I'm telling you, we should write a good final and a good final, not like well, we're about to get into the final. I'm interested in what you think of just the final in general, not the point system so much, but just the final. We're going to get there in a second. John A talks to her husband on the phone. I looked at him and I said, is that a poor man's Zach right there? He looked like a poor man's Zach to me. Okay. I'm being a jerk. I don't care. I thought that looks like Zach, but like a poor man's version.
I didn't get that. I didn't get that vibe. I didn't get that vibe at all. It was sweet, but
not his personality. Because the guy seems a lot nicer than Zach, obviously, but his look.
Oh my God, yeah. Well, we have our thoughts on Zach. We definitely do not need to go down Zach road tonight.
Correct. And then after that was Wes in his underwear.
Filler. That wasn't that didn't really bring anything to the episode. The face.
No, I think they're just showing like what everyone's trying to fight for this final. And then Wes is fighting to buy more white underwear. Apparently, I don't know. They had to show that shot, which was hilarious. And then they showed Brad combing his beard.
Anything could be worse than his skin tone.
Say that one more time? Oh, that, yeah. What did you say about Wes though?
Sorry, you have a bit of a lag right now, so I'm a little bit stepping onto your words. I said that Wes, you couldn't find anything whiter than his skin color until he wore those boxers.
Very true. All right. Do you want to get into the final?
Yeah, let's get into the final. So, I mean, we talked about they arrived to the final and they learned that John A and Nehemiah are going to be gifted with the 5 points. And you can see it on everybody's face that it's just kind of like, damn, really? We all have stars, or some of them don't, like Kayla and Kellyanne never actually won any. But for those that did, that's got to be really frustrating and annoying. And then you get paired up with in placement of how you did in the last challenge.
Yeah.
And then there's, obviously the deficits where Nia and Brad start way later.
What did you think of the concept, though, of the final? The concept is you're with a partner for the first part of the checkpoint. And then on the last part of the checkpoint, you have to have a matchup against your same sex. And then you get points based on when you get there to the checkpoint. And then you get points based on if you beat that person or not. I loved it. I'd like this. I like the concept. I'm not sure if the point system is the best, but I like the idea that you're kind of having to face every individual person and not just a group of people.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting. And we've been wanting for there to be a little bit more fairness in the final. And I feel like maybe that element brings it. However, I always feel iffy about the partner situation when I almost wish that they could compete individually, because a certain leg of the final is very crucial who you're partnered with. And I just am always kind of like, well, I mean, if you're stuck with a partner and they're weak at a certain element of it, like if you have somebody who maybe doesn't have the most endurance, I think they're only with partners when they're running from one checkpoint to another. But after the fourth time you're running to a checkpoint and you're with somebody who doesn't have the best endurance, but you have great endurance, now your game is suffering because you're not going to get to the checkpoint quick enough when you have an anchor with you.
Here's why I think they do it. If they based it on just whatever guy and then in order makes it to the checkpoint individually, say you do the whole thing individually, you're all four guys are running to the checkpoint between each one. Who's going to get first place every time? It's going to be Wes. No one's going to beat him. Maybe Brad would come in because Brad is an animal too, but it's going to be Wes or Brad first place every time. Therefore, Nehemiah and Mark literally have no chance to win this thing, because even if they win that next part of the checkpoint, they're still only getting 1 or 2 points for that first part. And that's not going to be enough. And then if they lose one of the second part of the checkpoints, they'll never come back. So that's the fairness thing. Same with the girls. Like Kellyanne and Kayla are going to beat out Jonna and Naya running because they just gas out more. So this way, all 4 people always have a chance to win. They're just, obviously we talked about this all the time. They're just trying to keep the final as close as possible, not as fair as possible, but as close as possible. That's all it is. It's for our benefit or lack thereof, really. Cause we just want to see who we want win the damn thing, even by a landslide.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It's for entertainment to make sure that it's tight and even. But as we saw, it really hasn't been. I mean, at least from first place to last, like Kellyanne was really, really sucking. And so
Kellyanne and Brad we can't say they're out of it because we don't know how much is left in the final. I bet there's like at least 3 more checkpoints. Plus they have to do the overnight thing too. But as far as the top 3 positions in each grouping, I think the 3 guys and the 3 girls in the top and that's fine. That's all we're looking for. The 4th place, I mean, it sucks. I want Brad and Kellyanne to win, but at least the top 3 are close.
Yeah, because what you're saying, if it was just an individual game, then Wes would be probably dominating everybody. And then it wouldn't be entertaining to watch, but it would be like the fairest way to just show like the fitness level or the most well-rounded competitor winning, but it's not the best entertainment to watch.
I mean, Wes already got back those 5 points that he lost to Nehemiah, because Nehemiah, he's already above. Now Nehemiah is still in second, but that's just because he got those 5 damn points. And then Mark is 3rd, and he's in there somewhere. But yeah, so
yeah, but it gets funny though, because when you get to the checkpoints and like the kayak one, I felt like so many people, once they realized that they just weren't going to win, like Kellyanne, that was the one where she was like, well, I see that Kayla's got this in the bag, so I'm just gonna la-di-da and wait to be rescued.
You mean the raft one, not the kayak one we haven't seen yet. The raft one, yeah.
Oh, yes, you're right.
Now, the reason you may have said that is because Nehemiah decided to treat it as if it were a kayak. Yes. And actually it was a great move, because even though one side was a little nub and the other side was a full paddle, it still got him through the water as, quicker. And I think those rafts were awkward as hell, by the way. They were squares, or like maybe slightly a rectangle, but like it was basically a square. And if you don't have a long arms, if you don't have the length to get to each side of the kayak, you're a shorter person like a John A. I don't even think John A might have finished. I think she actually, I don't know. But either way,
Naya beat John A.
There it is, because Naya has such long arms.
And remember Mrs. Naya on the paddleboard last time, and she got it together. Yeah. And I'm loving her in this final. She is impressing me so much, and I feel like she's called herself a 4th quarter performer. And that's what she's doing. She's locked in now. She has tunnel vision and she's just finding it within herself to get the job done and do what she needs to do. So she did wonderfully. Nehemiah obviously performed really well. And I think he even surpassed Wes, even though he wasn't using his oar correctly. I was really rooting for Brad. I thought Brad was going to cut Wes off. He caught up to him, even though he was so far behind in the running. Well, no, I take that back because you have to wait for everybody to get to the checkpoint. And building the raft, he was so far behind. And he got it to the inside near the buoy, and then he couldn't make the turn quick enough, but he was right there. So that was just, I mean, I guess disappointing because I'm rooting for Brad, but you know, credit to Wes. He's dominating.
I wonder if there was a rule in that part where you had to use the oar, because my thought was, why don't you just hang off the back and just kick your feet? No, just hold on to the raft like this with your arms, and then just
with it.
Don't even move your arms are on the raft. It's just you kick your feet to make the raft move and just go around that, because that oar, it just seemed awkward, especially if you didn't have the length. And Nehemiah found the hidden room to make that kayak / raft work. I thought it was a really great. I didn't think it was going to. Wes said it best. He's like, I don't know how the hell he's doing it, but it's working. And I'm like, I don't know either, but it was a great idea. Really impressed. Yeah, really impressed by that. So, anyways, I wrote long arms help. I just think Naya's long arms got her through that portion.
Here's
quickly.
A note I have. Kellyanne only has 2. WTF, girl. This is on my notes app on my phone.
What did do you know what Brad has at this point?
I think he had similar. I think he had,
I mean, they're way down that way. So that was the first checkpoint, was to get through that awkward. So the first part was just run and get a key and then unlock your raft, build the thing. And I think it was built like a puzzle. You had to match up the puzzle properly.
Yeah.
So there you go. And then the second checkpoint was the tandem bike ride, which we mentioned a little bit earlier.
Like honeymoon romance in the middle of a mountain.
And that was one of Wes's lines where he's like, I'm going to treat this like it's our honeymoon, or what did he say?
Maybe he said that. I thought it was hysterical.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. So they did that. What did you think of the puzzle they had to solve in checkpoint 2 with all the stars and all the colors?
It looked incredibly difficult.
It looked insane.
That I would look at, and that would defeat me, knowing that I had to memorize all of those. Well, so many rows, so many colors. And by the time Wes figures it out, again, I was watching my sister. We're like, how do we even, how did he even do that? He looks at the board, he's like, oh, I got it. Dun.
Yeah. Bye. Insane what he was doing.
Incredible.
I think it was Naya that broke it down. She's like, I'm not even looking at the stars. I'm just looking at the color at the bottom tip of each one, because they're all different on each one. And I think that was how to break the code right there. That was a simple way to memorize, green, blue, red, orange, blue, green, blue, red, and just keep saying that as you go and get the key or whatever it is. And I think that was the way to do it.
But I didn't see that on a different board unless I'm messing up. I recall trying to look for exactly that the next time they showed somebody's board. And I was thinking, wait, I don't know if that's true for whatever board I'm looking at, because it looked a little bit different. Like some of the top colors were different as well, instead of just finding the one different bottom color, different triangle. But I don't know. That's what I noticed.
Yeah. And then all they did was like make the stars bigger to show us like that they had solved it. I'm like, okay, sure. That makes sense.
Yeah. Exactly. We're like, how did Wes figure that out so quickly? What do you mean you got it? He's like, oh, I got it easy. We're like, what do you got? I don't even know what I'm looking at.
I wish they came up with a little bit better way with puzzles to kind of let us in on it, let us compete with them in the puzzles, like give us a way to, but then maybe that would take too much time and it wouldn't be as fun to watch. I don't know, but it's a little frustrating watching that one with the star. I was just like, I don't even stand a chance here to enjoy this. Not enjoy the part because it was entertaining still, but just play along, I guess.
Yeah. Well, Naya gets it done first. She beats, I can't remember who she's against at that point. I think it might be Kayla or Kellyanne. Maybe it's Kayla, because Janae is happy that she's not against Naya in that situation because she gets hers done second. So
yeah, she admits how she says like Naya's smarter than her. Ha ha ha. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it just credit to her that, Naya has been somebody who hasn't been maybe performing at an outstanding view the entire season in the regular daily challenges. But now that it's finals, she is like bringing it out and she's doing so well at everything.
Yeah,
And
but we
maybe that's
see, I
the way to
mean,
be.
John A is so good at puzzles, though. I think she was just being nice saying that about Nia, just, because she was being humble is what she was being, I think. I will say this, though. I mean, this thing is loaded with puzzles, like more and more puzzles every damn season. I just honestly think they're like 4 girls went home, do like 2 or 3 of them due to injury, and we don't even have that many like physical challenges here. We have to do more puzzles. These people are 40 and they're going to get hurt, and I think that's what's going to happen with these all-star seasons. It is what it is.
Yeah, it's crazy what they're doing considering their age. It's not even like they're that old, and there's so many like pro athletes and Olympian, well, maybe not Olympians, but people who
even
perform in like
pro athletes aren't in their
triathlons
40s. Pro athletes are not usually in their 40s, except if you're Tom Brady. So
yeah, I mean, that's what I mean is that there are those exceptions, like there are people who can still outrun probably you and I who are in their 40s, people who participate in marathons and all of that stuff. But it is crazy to think that like they're going back to normal lives, normal jobs, being parents. They probably can't work out day in, day out and do these 2-a-days in preparations for these finals because they have a busy life to get back
oh yeah,
to.
of course, yeah.
Full-blown adults. So the fact that they're doing this with a lot more years under their belt is crazy.
What are your overall thoughts of the finals so far? Did you like it? Besides the point, let's talk about the point system too, after you tell me if you like the final.
Well, I do like it, but that's playing into my likeness of it a lot, because there's just something about the point system that I'm just feeling like it's making it really outweighed. And
do you have it timed? Do you do a timed version then? Like what's your idea to make it better? Timed?
I think timed is good. And, they have these checkpoints, which they always do have at the final. But for some reason, I always like just like a linear final, like a final where they start at a start line and they really just have to beat each other to the finish line.
Yeah, I'd love an individual linear final or even a partner's final, but you're with that partner the whole time.
Yeah, exactly.
So you know throughout the season who you have and how you work with them, and you can work off each other's, faults and positives and all that stuff, where you can strengths and whatnot. Like, this person has a weakness here, so I'm going to make sure I help them here. And you can be more vocal about that throughout the season. And yeah, I think and that's what Ride or Die is going to be, obviously. So in season 38. So yeah, we'll get to see at least that.
I kind of like that you just have to deal with whatever's happening too. So like Mark and Johnny's chain breaks of their bike, and that sucks. And there was a part of me thinking like, oh shit, is that kind of unfair? Do they have like wonky material or equipment? Do they have like a bad bike and now they're stuck with this? Like that sucks. You think it's Mark's body weight, but
I do.
It also was like, it is what it is. There's a wrench in your plans now. Now you got to figure it out. You just walk the bike instead of ride
and
it.
I don't think they wouldn't give him a faulty bike because he's teamed up with John A. And John A is like she's their new sweetheart. They want her to win. They want a 2-time champion in John A. Then they can say, you went to the finals all 3 seasons and won 2 of them, 2 out of 3. That's amazing. So yeah.
Well, I think the bikes were randomly chosen. I don't think they were like, Mark, take that bike. I just mean,
I'm saying it. Well, I'm just saying again, they could easily get him to have the faulty bike if they wanted to, though. They could say, this is your bike, Mark, take this bike.
Yeah.
That's yours. That's your
I don't think it was a conspiracy to make it faulty equipment.
No, I don't think so either.
Oh, you guys got the shit bike. That sucks.
I don't think they did that. That's my point, because John A's on his team. Yeah. We do see a couple things next week, actually. Mm-hmm. They are going to be eating some food, a classic a marquee, a staple of a finale, as TJ called it tonight. And we also see a King of the Hill scenario where they're on some type of raft, and it's back to that classic challenge one where you basically just have to wrestle and knock the other dude off. It was back when Big Easy was on the challenge last time we saw that one, and Big Easy was just chucking dudes off it because he was freaking huge.
Yeah,
I think that was in Rivals 2 probably, or something like that. I don't remember when.
The food that they have to eat,
what was
absolutely insane.
It was like
the amount of it,
right? Piles is what I was gonna say. Yeah,
looks ridiculous that it might be enough to make me quit. I mean, when it comes to food, I don't really blame anybody for just saying like, never mind, I don't want to do this anymore, because that plate was disgusting.
Yeah, it was a pile. It was a mound. It looked atrocious to me. I would not want to eat whatever that was.
Ugh, what was that?
What would you say Wes's biggest weakness is? Because he has so many straight. Does he even have a weakness at this point?
Probably humbleness.
Okay.
Just kidding.
Some would call that, well, I was going to say, you were going to say, what's the opposite of being humble then? He brags too much. And I was going to say, well, that's confidence, but you went humble, so I couldn't make my joke back with it. But yeah.
What is Wes's weakness?
I mean,
in is it final? I don't know. Not in a final.
Is it eating food? Is it eating food? Maybe. Is this where he loses it? Because I feel like he's dominating everything. Is the food the thing that slips him up? Maybe the king of the hill slips him up. He's got a bunch of big dudes to go against.
It's an equalizer, and it messes everybody else up for the rest of their final.
I can only imagine what your stomach is doing. Yeah.
You're messed up the whole rest of the way. Kellyanne, I think, is a vegan or at least a vegetarian. I don't know how she's going to even be able to look at that.
Yeah. Can she even eat whatever that is?
I mean, she's going to have to. She wants to participate, right. But her body's probably going to have the worst adjustment to that and the worst side effect.
That is interesting. I'm surprised that you know what? Here's a conspiracy for you. Not a conspiracy, a thing that I think will happen. You think someday they will be like, if you're a vegetarian, you have to eat this other thing instead because we have to go by diets now. The world is turning into a crazy place. Just saying.
You know what?
You know what I mean? Like that goes against my I have dietary restrictions, but I want to be on the challenge. Like, you know what I mean? Like someone eventually will have to say something.
Well, I feel like if it's a health issue, like if you have celiac or something, then I feel like you shouldn't have to eat something that has gluten, you know?
But I think also they sign a contract
to go to the hospital.
But they sign a contract before they come on. And I think they have to abide by the contract. And the contract is you will eat whatever we put in front of you in the final if you make it that far. I bet they sign a contract, so they have to do it.
I mean, that's always the thing with this food, because think about how disgusting the food has been on this show. Like sheep balls, cow eyes, brain,
bull testicles,
bull testicles. I don't ever think that should ever be eaten. That will never have a good effect on anybody's body. So the fact that they are making people compete in it, they can't make anybody do anything that will actually kill them or actually make them like deathly ill or catch like a mad cow disease. So there's got to be some sort of, I don't know, the cleaning of this food, or I don't know, maybe they make it look worse than it tastes. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't think they brought those flies in, Jenna. I think those flies that are always flying around it are just natural flies, and that's disgusting every time you see that.
But that can't be good. So they have to do something to make sure that this isn't like an illness prone activity they're making them do, you know? Exactly.
That is everything I have. Do you have any other thoughts that you want to mention about this episode? I believe this week coming up will be the finale, episode 10. We figured 10 episodes. That seems about right. I do hope we get a reunion. I always want to.
I think a reunion would be really fun for this.
Have they done reunions for other seasons? I want to say
they did, because I remember you were so mad at Gisela. For talking over everybody.
She was season 1. Did they do one for season 2 though? I don't remember.
I don't think that they did one for when Jenna and MJ won, because I think Janelle would have come in hot with her takes of like, the producer definitely nudged her to do the safe or use these instructions.
Oh, and wasn't that a conspiracy then? The reason they didn't do. Oh, wait, no. They did one and she wasn't invited. I think that's what happened. I think that they did one and they did a reunion and she was not invited and therefore did not get to state her case. And I'm sure I brought that up when we did our after show for that.
Okay, let's see.
Yeah, just type in All-Star season 2.
Also, everybody, why don't you maybe give me some advice on how to improve my memory? If you're going to hate on it so much, I need some.
Tell us in the comment section below. They're going to say do those brain teasers that you can download an app and every day you do a memory game and it helps with your memory. What did you type in? All-Star season 2 reunion?
Yes, sure did.
And it probably came the RuPaul Drag Race probably came up.
It did.
That one
RuPaul
comes
did
up a
come
lot when I try to type in All-Star stuff.
I don't see reunion.
Well, it is what it
It'd
is.
be a total of 10 episodes with one being a season 2 reunion. But like, where do I watch it? You know?
Where do we watch it?
I don't see any links to it or any streams, but I'll have to dig deeper into this.
It's all good. I was trying to look up one last time. It was called the Crazy 8 ring battle between Derek and Joss.
Did Derek win though? I don't remember.
No, I'm pretty sure Derek won because Joss got DQ'd.
Oh, the DQ, that's right. But I think in terms of
okay. I hear what
going
you're saying.
head to head, I remember it being such a dogfight, but I feel like Joss was able to wrangle it out of his hands and outlast Derek. But if there was if he made a faulty move and it got DQ'd, then that's considered the loss.
Yeah, it was a sad loss for me with Joss. So Joss definitely lost. But I feel like it was a weird technicality thing of how Joss lost too.
Yeah.
Either like he stepped out of the ring or something weird like that happened.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, hey, tell us in the comment section below about that elimination. Also tell us in the comment section below what the hell happened with All-Star Season 2. Was there a reunion? Was Janelle not invited? Because I'm thinking that's what happened, as I recall.
Hashtag help Jenna's memory.
Okay.
Comment in the comment section below some tips for us so that we remember things a little bit better.
Yeah.
And we make your viewership better.
Oh, yeah. Well, this is going straight up on the YouTube, so we're going to get like 50 comments.
Straight up on the YT.
It's going up, so get ready for that. It's 7:01. I tried to wait for Pamela to come in hot right now to give us one final take. She ain't coming back.
Come in as hot, as hard as she left.
She left, right?
Hard out, goodbye.
Literally. And then, okay, there it is.
That's my little Edward Snowden slide above my.
Oh, you got the slide,
camera.
yeah.
Hell yeah.
If people want to see what I'm doing, go ahead. I'm not covering mine up.
Scared about it.
Not really. What are they? Good.
Your body parts are a little bit less vulnerable, I guess.
I think so. Like, why do they need it? They don't need it. They don't want to see this. It's fine. All right. Well, thank you all so much for joining us. We'll leave it on that note. What a great note to end on that.
No, let's leave it on the note of a few things. One, I'm excited to see how the rest of the challenge plays out, but also I don't really foresee it being that possible for someone to catch up to Wes on the male side. I mean, Nehemiah's kind of right there. It's kind of, but I don't know.
So, you know what I was thinking with that? Why doesn't Wes go head to head with Nehemiah in one of these eliminations? And if he beats him there, then he really gives him no chance of winning. Because if he has Nehemiah go against another guy and Nehemiah keeps winning those, then they just keep tying each time and he gets to stay. However, if Nehemiah loses and to the other guy, then that's fine too. But Wes needs to go head to head against Nehemiah in this series. Well, maybe not series finale, but season finale. And just beat him outright and get the 5 points and just dominate this damn thing.
I'm sure Wes is probably calculating his points in his mind the whole time. I wonder if they get told their points, because I don't remember them being
between each one. I also think Wes is looking at each individual checkpoint and he's like, okay, well, sometimes he gets there first, so he doesn't have a choice. But I'm thinking he's like, okay, I can beat Nehemiah guaranteed in this. Can't, I think he's also weighing. He's weighing everything. Wes is doing that.
Yeah, so he'll know if it comes down to that, but that will be an ultimate test of friendship because
who's in first place for the who's in sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
Is Kayla in first place for the girls is what I wanted to ask you. And then John A. Because I know John A got the points, but I don't think no, you're right. She might be in first with
Definitely
Kayla.
Watch the episode, guys. I promise. Just can't remember this one.
Look, I wrote down a ton of notes, but I didn't write down who was in.
We can't see them. They're classified clearly. They're all
classified notes. Yeah, I just held up a Chinese menu I'm going to get Chinese food after this, and that's fine. All right, great. We'll see y'all soon. Pamela 703. I tried, Pam. I tried.
Pam lives.
Hashtag Pam lives if you're still watching. Very excited for Wednesday. It should be good.
I need to check in on her. I send her a text, be like, "Feeling good?"
She didn't get back. Oh, she's working hard. She's working hard. All right. Well, definitely comment in the comment section below. go for the jugular if you have to, but maybe some nice ones too. Come on, let's be nice.
Bring it on.
Okay, bring it on then. All right. Well, Jenna said bring it on, so I say bring it on as well. All right. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Get it? Okay, bye.